And I'm on. What's up, everybody? I'm Rico. I know this is only my second video, or third, depending on when I post the other one. But I really want to talk about the ballots coming, or the propositions coming up in the elections. And I'm in California, so I'm going to talk about specifically California propositions. I haven't seen that many people out there talking about them. I haven't talked to many people about them, and I kind of want to bounce some perspectives around because I've only talked to a few friends and family about them, and well, I just want a broader opinion. Um, just as a little bit of a background, anything that increases taxes, anything that increases the government's power, or anything that I just see inherently as an overstepping on people's freedoms, I'm probably going to vote no on. That being said, let's get on with the show. Let me show you my screen. So what I will do here is go through the ballot propositions in something called Ballotpedia. You guys can all go there. It has tons of information, and as you'll see, it has tons of very good relevant information. All right, so as you can see, these are the ballots, the propositions on the California, what's it called? Ballot, I guess. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm going to read a little bit about all of them, and then we're going to go into each and every one of them. I really don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to rant until I'm done, and we'll see what happens. Try to keep them short, but I'm a teacher, and I tend to keep talking, so we'll see what happens. So Proposition 14 issues $5.5 billion in bonds for State Stem Cell Research Institute. Okay, just off the bat, bonds mean you're basically putting the state more into debt. I don't want to get into specifics right now. Let's go into the bond and look at all that, but this one is about debt. Probably not going to like it. Proposition 15 requires commercial and industrial properties to be taxed based on market value and dedicates revenue. Increase in taxes. We'll go more into the details when we get to it, but it's an increase in taxes. Property taxes. And yes, it has specific provisions, but again, any increase in tax is going to rise the price of everything else around it, in it, with it. You can't just say, oh, just an increase in taxes for rich property owners, but everyone else uses that building too, and everyone else buys things for. We'll talk about them there. Proposition 16, affirmative action, they call it. Repeals Proposition 209, which says that the state cannot discriminate or grant preferential treatment based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, education, or contracting. Now, this is exactly what it does. Repeals the Proposition 209, which states the state cannot discriminate. So if you vote yes on this one, it's a vote to discriminate. We'll get into it right now. Proposition 17 restores the right to vote to people convicted of felonies who are on parole. So this is kind of weird. People who are on parole but haven't completed their full prison sentence still cannot vote. This is just repealing that. So it allows people that are on parole to vote. It's kind of a weird law to be passing at this point in time, especially considering the next one as well. They call it suffrage. Are you serious? Proposition 18 allows 17-year-olds who will be 18 at the time of the next general election to vote in primaries and special elections. All it really does is allows 17-year-olds to vote in primaries. That's it. 17-year-olds can already vote, can already register to vote and vote for the general election if they're going to be 18 by the general election. This only allows them to vote in primaries as well, which has other kinds of propositions and comes with other things. But again, why are we letting even younger people vote when the majority of adults don't fucking vote? I mean, why isn't there a bigger push for getting adults to vote? I just don't see where the hell 17-year-olds are going to help anything. Next, Proposition 19. Changes tax assessment transfers and inheritance rules. This is by far one of the most confusing fucking propositions on it, mostly because of the language they use, and I honestly read it like twice and I still didn't know what the fuck was going on. But we'll look at Ballotpedia. They actually break it down really, really well. We'll go through it right now. Proposition 20 makes changes to policies related to criminal sentencing charges, prison releases, and DNA collection. This one might take some time because I'm not really sure where to go with this one. It does increase. It increases what the terms for. It changes a few misdemeanors into felonies, especially things like robbing a store or like those kind of felony theft. I think they start creating it. If you rob a store like again and again, if you do it multiple times, then it can just be turned into a felony. We'll look into it more right now. Proposition 21 expands local governments' power to use rent control. All right. Expands local governments is always sketchy for me, because I know there's always good intentions with a lot of these things, but these things keep backfiring. And when it comes to rent control, it's going to force a lot of tenants to kick a lot of people out. And we'll read the arguments right now. Proposition 22 considers app-based drivers to be independent contractors and enacts several labor policies related to app-based companies. As you may or may not know, California recently passed something that forces the people who wants to force the people who work for app-based companies like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all these drivers, forcing them to become full-time employees. Not only stifles whatever the hell they're doing, they probably have other jobs and other lives. It also puts a drain on all those companies, because those companies' main form of profit is getting independent contractors, having independent contracts, using the app as a platform and working with people in a independent way. If you're forcing people to have fucking full-time employees, there might as well be fucking taxis. You might as well start doing the whole taxi shit. Should these people be entitled to benefits and so on and so forth? Look, I'm a libertarian. I believe in individual freedom. If people want to work purely for money and no other benefits, who the fuck are we to stop them? Sorry, I do cuss quite a bit. You'll find out. But anyways, Proposition 22, you already have my sentiment for it. Yeah, well, we'll go into that, but I think most of us are in agreement with this. Government shouldn't really be forcing companies to hire people in whatever way I don't know. It just seems too intrusive from the government. Next, Proposition 23 requires physician on-site at dialysis clinics and consent from the state at clinic for a clinic to close. All I keep hearing is no on this. There's very little yes on this. I don't think anybody's for this. We'll talk about it a little more right now. So Proposition 24 expands a provision of California Consumer Privacy Act and creates the California Privacy Protection Agency to implement and enforce the CCPA. Government getting a little bit bigger. I know the intention is good. California Privacy Act, it wants to protect your information. It wants to give you more power to control what kind of information you give to companies and what they can do with that information. But is government bureaucracy really the answer? If you believe government bureaucracy is amazingly efficient, then yes, you might want to vote yes on 24. I hesitate on giving the government any kind of anything, because not only do they constantly overstep their boundaries, but they're not the most efficient group of people. Again, the intentions are great, but I'm not looking at intention. I'm looking at possible ramifications for a very near future. Proposition 25, the last one, replaces cash bail with risk assessments for suspects awaiting trial. All right, so you guys have heard a general description of the propositions. Let's get into them.